Over the years, I have learned that keeping my house in order is not an easy task, especially when the body no longer responds with the same energy as before. I remember when I could clean the entire house in one morning without feeling exhausted. Now, each movement requires more effort and the mess seems to multiply more quickly. However, I have discovered that it is not about working harder, but rather working smarter. Many times I have felt alone in this task. Others don't always understand what it means to me to have a clean and organized home. It is not just a question of appearance, but of well-being. An orderly space gives me peace of mind and makes each day more bearable. But the reality is, at this age, I can't afford to spend all my energy cleaning without an efficient system. After a lot of trial and error, I found 7 strategies that have allowed me to keep my house in order without burning out. They are simple but powerful methods that anyone can apply. They have given me the peace of mind of knowing that my home will always be presentable, and most importantly, that I do not have to sacrifice my well-being to achieve it. If you too feel that cleaning has become a heavy burden, I want to share with you these 7 ways that have made a difference in my life. With them, you can keep your house impeccable without excessive effort and enjoy a more harmonious and welcoming home. Let's get started. The first strategy that completely changed the way I keep my house in order was learning how to get rid of the excess. For years, I accumulated objects, some with sentimental value, others simply out of habit. I was embarrassed to throw away things that could be useful one day, but the truth is that having too many things makes keeping order much more difficult. One day I decided to make a change. I sat in my living room, looked at every corner and asked myself, do I really need all this? I realized that there were furniture that I barely used, decorations that only collected dust, and clothes that I hadn't worn in years. So I made a decision. If something didn't make me happy or had a clear use in my daily life, it had to go. To avoid overwhelming myself, I started with small spaces like a drawer or closet. I separated things into 3 categories: those I was going to keep, those I could donate, and those that were no longer useful. I was surprised to see how many things could be useful to other people, so I gave away clothes, kitchen utensils, and even furniture that I no longer needed. The most incredible thing was the sense of relief I felt. With less stuff, cleaning became much easier and faster. I no longer had to move piles of objects every time I swept or cleaned a table. Now everything in my house has its place and everything feels lighter. Since then, I do regular checks to prevent the clutter from accumulating again. I have learned that a tidy house does not mean having more things well arranged, but rather keeping only the essentials. If you want your home to stay impeccable without so much effort, start by eliminating what you no longer need. The second strategy that has helped me enormously to keep my house in order without excessive effort is to establish a daily routine. Before, I used to let the clutter build up until the chaos became overwhelming. I would then spend hours trying to clean everything at once, which would leave me exhausted and not wanting to do anything else. One day I realized that the key was not to clean a lot at once, but to do a little every day. That's how I created a simple but effective routine, based on small tasks that, added together, keep my home spotless without making me feel overwhelmed. In the morning, the first thing I do is make the bed. It may seem like a small detail, but it completely changes the look of the room and gives me a feeling of order from the start of the day. Then, while I wait for the water to heat up for my coffee, I take the opportunity to quickly clean the kitchen counter or clean up the dishes from the night before. After each meal, I wash the utensils immediately. I used to procrastinate, but I learned that 5 minutes of effort in the moment prevents accumulating dirty dishes that would take me half an hour to clean. I do the same with clothes. Instead of waiting for a mountain of dirty clothes to build up, I run a washing machine every 2 or 3 days as needed. At night, before going to bed, I spend 10 minutes going through the living room and kitchen, putting away any misplaced objects. It's not a deep clean, just a quick check to make sure everything is in place. With this routine, my house stays constantly in order, and I no longer have to deal with long days of cleaning. I have realized that spending a few minutes a day makes all the difference. The third strategy that has made a big difference in my life is assigning a place for everything. For years, my problem wasn't so much dirt, but clutter. I found objects out of place everywhere. Keys on the kitchen table, papers on the couch, shoes in any corner. This made my house always look disorganized, even though I cleaned it constantly. One day, I realized that the real problem was not that the house got dirty quickly, but that I didn't have a clear system for storing my things. So I decided to change this and set fixed places for each object, making sure they were accessible and easy to remember. For the keys, I put a small hook near the door. For mail and important documents, I designated a tray on the dining room table. I created a special space for shoes near the entryway and placed baskets in the living room for magazines and remote controls. With these small changes, the clutter began to reduce drastically. The most important thing was to make this a habit. Every time I used something, I made sure to put it back right away. At first, I had a hard time remembering it, but over time it became automatic. Now, instead of spending time searching for things or picking up clutter every day, my house stays in order with much less effort. This method has saved me time and energy and has made my home look more harmonious without requiring much effort. Having a fixed place for everything not only makes cleaning easier, but also gives me peace of mind. The fourth strategy that has made keeping my house tidy easier is cleaning as I go. I used to let tasks pile up, thinking I'd do it all at once later. But that later always ended up becoming a problem, because what could have been a quick task turned into an exhausting cleanup. I found that it was easier and less burdensome to clean while doing other activities. For example, when I cook, instead of waiting for everything to be finished to clean, I wash the utensils I no longer need, wipe down the surfaces, and collect ingredients as I use them. This way, when the food is ready, the kitchen is practically clean. I also applied this in the bathroom. After I shower, I wipe down the surfaces and pick up anything out of place. It doesn't take me more than a minute, but it prevents soap and water stains from building up. I do the same in the bedroom. Every morning, as soon as I get up, I make the bed. It's not a difficult task, but it completely changes the look of the room. This method has transformed my routine. Instead of spending hours cleaning at the end of the day, I make constant small efforts that I barely notice. Now my house is never in complete disarray because I'm always maintaining it with simple and quick gestures. By cleaning as I go, I've learned that I don't need to spend large blocks of time cleaning. I just have to take advantage of the moments of the day and do what is necessary at the right time. The fifth strategy that has changed the way I keep the house in order is dividing tasks into zones. Before, I would try to clean the entire house in a single day and end up completely exhausted. Not only did it take me hours, but the next day the disorder would reappear, and I would feel like I was never making any progress. It was then that I understood that instead of wanting to do everything at once, I had to organize myself better. I decided to divide my house into zones and dedicate myself to a different one each day. For example, on Mondays, I clean the kitchen, on Tuesdays, the bathroom, on Wednesdays, the living room, on Thursdays, the bedrooms, and on Fridays, I do a general review. By doing this, I no longer have to worry about cleaning everything at once. Every day, I make progress little by little, and my house is always kept in order without the need for long days of cleaning. This system has also allowed me to better distribute my energy. There are days when I feel more energized and can do a deeper clean, but on others, I just do the basics and know that the next day, I will continue moving forward. This has taken a great weight off my shoulders and given me peace of mind, because I know that each space has its moment and there is no need to rush. Since adopting this method, cleaning feels much more manageable. I no longer stress out thinking about everything I have to do, because I know that each area will receive attention on its corresponding day. Now my home stays tidy without exhausting me in the process. And best of all, I have more time for myself. The sixth strategy that has made house maintenance much easier for me is investing in appropriate tools and cleaning products. For years, I used the same old things: brooms that didn't collect dust well, rags that left lint, and products that seemed to spread dirt rather than cleaning. I didn't realize how much unnecessary effort I was putting in until I decided to try more efficient tools. The first big change was buying a lightweight vacuum cleaner. Before sweeping took me a long time, and there was always dust in the air. With the vacuum cleaner, in a few minutes the floor is spotless, and I don't need to make so much effort. I also switched from a traditional mop to a microfiber spray mop, which allows me to clean without carrying heavy buckets or getting my hands dirty with dirty water. Another big difference was made by the microfiber cloths. I realized that with them I could clean surfaces with less effort and without leaving marks. I don't need to use as many chemicals anymore because these cloths remove dirt with just a little water. In addition, I discovered specific products for each area of the house, such as effective kitchen degreasers and bathroom cleaners that remove limescale without having to scrub too much. Investing in the right tools has been one of the best decisions I have made. Now cleaning is faster and more effective, saving me energy and time. At this age, every effort counts, and having the right utensils makes everything easier. I don't get so tired or spend hours cleaning anymore because everything I use really makes my job easier. The seventh and final strategy, but perhaps the most important of all, is to prioritize what is essential and let go of the idea of perfection. For a long time, I thought that for my house to be truly clean, it had to be spotless at all times. I would spend hours cleaning every corner, worrying about every little stain, and at the end of the day, instead of feeling satisfied, I felt exhausted and frustrated. Over time, I learned that a tidy home doesn't mean everything has to be shiny and without a single speck of dust. The most important thing is that the space is functional and cozy, not perfect. Now I focus on the essentials: that the kitchen is clean after each meal, that the bathroom is in pleasant condition, that the common spaces are clear, and that my bedroom is a comfortable place to rest. If one day I can't clean as much as I want, I don't punish myself for it. I know that the next day I will be able to resume it without a problem. I also understood that there are times when it is more important to rest or enjoy other things in life. It's not worth wearing myself out over details that no one else notices and that don't really affect my well-being. Since I changed my mentality, I feel freer. My house continues to be a reflection of care and order, but without cleaning being a constant burden. I enjoy my home more now, instead of seeing it as an endless list of tasks. I have learned to find a balance, and that has been the key to keeping my house in order without sacrificing my peace of mind. We have reached the end of these 7 strategies that have changed the way I keep my house in order without burning out. Applying them has meant a transformation in my daily life, allowing me to enjoy a clean and harmonious home without feeling overwhelmed by domestic tasks. I have learned that it is not about doing more, but about doing better, establishing simple routines, eliminating the unnecessary, and above all, accepting that perfection is not the goal, but well-being. Now I ask you, which of these strategies are you going to apply first in your home? Have you tried any of them before? I would love to know your experience. Leave me a comment and tell me what you think. If you found this content useful, share it with other women who also want to keep their house in order without excessive effort. Together, we can make this task easier and more bearable. Remember, it's not about having the house spotless all the time, but about creating a space where you feel comfortable and at peace. Start today with a small change, and you will see how little by little your home will transform. You can do it.